Welcome back to the Eric Crown Crypto channel, wishing you a happy daily start to this Wednesday. It's Wednesday, not Tuesday, or it is Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever the fuck it is. Doesn't matter. It's the 26th day of April, and there's more important things to be getting into as of right now, besides getting humped on hump day, which is following up on the setups that we were looking at over the past few days here, coming in from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, as they slowly start to play out. In fact, one of them already did play out, but that's going to bleed into some higher term timeframes, and we can check in on how the overall picture is changing, if it is at all, actually. Anyways, other than that, I want to once again give the spotlight to the buyback promotion going on. They got 0% on maker fees for derivative contract orders. If you follow the directions in the link in the description below, you'll also even get the Jewel Light for free for the first 30 days. And I've been getting a lot of messages recently because Bybit is going KYC. What are some exchange alternatives and whatnot if you want to be on these sort of exchanges? Well, Bybit actually has a decentralized exchange arm called Apex. I have an affiliate link in the description below as well, and that will actually award you 5% discount on trading fees lifetime, which is, any reduction in trading fees is good, obviously. Anyways, moving on in now, as we've done enough shilling for the day. I want to once again follow up on the setup that we were looking at yesterday. It was an HPDR. It was a herpaderp related setup that we're looking at on the 6-hour time frame, where again the setup is this: closing below the 50% of historic returns range lows, which is this blue area right here that my cursor is currently on. Then of course initiates the next condition where we look for a decline in the volatility of the asset, and in this case that happened right here. And if I put on my strategy backtester, that officially happened on this bar, as you can see, when Bitcoin was trading about 27,300 or so. These were the stats available with it, and in this case, the exit criteria was actually already met after about a 4.5% move to the upside. Now, yesterday we were referencing the performance summary over here, looking at the average winning trade at about 569. Actually, great number right there. And of course that would have meant higher price points here, but in this case no, the exit conditions were already met, so that is essentially done. It's goes into the history, I guess. Anyways, more importantly now, that does not necessarily mean that this current move is over. There are other setups, one of which we discussed on Sunday/Monday, and another one I will bring up today, actually, or on today, right now, actually, particularly on this fucking video. Anyways, it's over here on the 12-hour time frame. The one that we referenced on Sunday was, of course, the Jewel Light setup, which again was basically just this, a very simple one, where we look for the Jewel Light to go below about 35 and then turn white on the first tick, alongside PMARP being below some certain levels. And in this case, that happened. Yeah, it happens right around here, like late Sunday, early Monday, something like that. That one is still obviously very active. That one is still active, and in this case, we can reference the data for this one over 90 tested iterations. 74.5% did have a nice upside move to the tune of an average, in the case of winning trades, was about just under 6%. So going back into it over here, we should also reference the average amount of time taken in those trades, which was 17 bars. 17 bars on a 12-hour time frame is about 8.5 days. Now, seeing as this officially fired off on Sunday, 8.5 days would put us basically at the end of this week, early into next week as well. Basically the end of this week. So what essentially does that mean for the timing of this? Well, again, there's going to be some variance within there, but it would still say that, within the context of these statistics, we're basically like halfway through this move. And so far we've seen about, 4%, 4% move to the upside, 4.5% move to the upside to be exact. And on average, again, the winning trade for winning trades, we've seen about 6%. So, play around with the numbers right here. Let's just see if this one does have another leg on top of it, where essentially would be reasonable, where would be like okay to be looking for. Well, like 6% or so puts Bitcoin at around 29,200. Very, very important number right there. We'll actually come back at that one a little bit later, but very, very important number right there, because the picture that I really want to be painting on this video is the same picture that I've been espousing for the past few days here. It's like, look, Bitcoin more likely to bounce from this region than not. Bounces, however, not the same thing as reversals until Bitcoin's back above about 29,250 on a higher term time from closing basis, at minimum a 12-hour, preferably a daily. But at that point, I would be saying that, hey, this was a bear trap over here, and get ready for some fucking bulldozer. Bend over for the bulldozer. Oh man, and a new meme was born on this day. Bend over for the bulldozer. But again, that is, it's still a little bit further away, so it's not appropriate for me to be talking about right now. But it is appropriate to be talking about bulldozers and bear dozers and just bend on over and take it like a man. Or a woman, because there's apparently 2% of you watching, which is great and also concerning. Like, what are you doing? Just kidding, obviously. Anyways, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, there's a new setup as well that I identified this morning on the 12-hour HPDR indicator. This one fired off, I believe, yesterday, it was late Monday. Anyways, going into it right here, let's just actually go over the particular setup. So in this case, we're looking at, again, closures below the blue range lows, in this case on the 12-hour time frame, combined with the decline in the volatility moving average represented by the BBWP indicator over here. And of course, that fired off at about 27,500 or so on that closure that we did see about a day and a half ago. Anyways, on this particular one, there has been about a 74% strike rate. We see that number coming up a lot recently for a nice short-term upside move over the past 54 tested iterations. The average amount of bars in the trades was 18, so very comparable to what we just looked at. So, 9 days or so. Which would kind of take us into early next week. And if we go and reference the average winning trade over here, this one actually did have a bit of a higher average winning trade at about 7.5%. Again, these are averages. There's going to be some variance. Some are going to be more, some are going to be less, but most of them settle somewhere around that 7.5% region. So in this case, let's just go ahead and play around with numbers from that particular one firing off right here. What would 7.5% look like on price action? That would actually be decently well past the 29,200 pivot, all the way up at 29,500. So we're getting multiple things now kind of playing with each other from multiple different angles, two completely different setups really. And in this case, does Bitcoin have another leg on this current rally? It would seem like it's reasonable to suggest that would, it's reasonable. Yeah, it's reasonable. I think it's the word that I'm looking for. Anyways, let me just bring back my notes over here. Okay, boom, there we go. All right, yes, now that we've gotten through this, we can go back and actually reference one of our just main charts over here, the 2-day time frame. And the 2-day time frame is actually showing some potential hidden bullish divergence based upon tonight's daily closure. So if Bitcoin especially closes anywhere above 28,300 or 28,350, that would be confirmed. And again, short term, we probably do see an extension on this move. If we actually go to the daily, I think that this was rather interesting as well. I mean, Bitcoin was just resting on the 55 over here as well. Again, another reason why we're looking for a bounce somewhere around this region. There could have been a wick a little bit lower, below 27, which I guess we kind of did get. There was a move that was just slightly below 27, but it could have been a few $100 more. That would have been fine, but this was kind of like the bounce zone. And now we're going to see another thing turn up as well. Most likely, the daily jewel will start to turn white upon tonight's closure. It is not supported by DMI, so this is not like a crazy signal or anything like that. But that could turn into one maybe a little bit later, like later this week. I'm saying, assuming that Bitcoin just doesn't shit the bed back down below about 27.5 or so. Anyways, so we've gone through that. Let's go ahead and reference stochastic momentum, see where the pivots are. And what do you know? Again, on the daily here, Bitcoin spends so much time going sideways that it's allowed the daily stochastic momentum to basically reset almost all the way on CME on in this particular case, which will actually turn back up on the next closure above 29,350. But if we go ahead and reference spot price action, it's already well down there. In fact, I mean, it's going to have a chance to cross up tonight, assuming that Bitcoin closes above 27,250. Some, a mere $1,000 below current price action. So, again, in the short term, I think that BULAs have their chance here. I think that BULAs, if they are going to push forwards, you probably see sideways and up from this region right here, coming back down below like 27.5 or so. Not going to look too damn good, to be fair. But if we go ahead and reference the other time frames, going back on over here, because I do like CME signals more. 12-hour time frame is crossing up from the critical zone way down south over here. Will be remaining with upside momentum as long as Bitcoin's closing above 27,150. That's 27,150, by the way, just to make sure that I got that one out properly. 6-hour time frame pivot again. This one crossed all the way down over here as well. 27,215. 4-hour time frame, 27,400 or so, again crossing in from that same level. And hourly is probably flippy floppy, getting ready for a little bit of short-term downside, so probably a bit of short-term consolidation here at 28,350 or so is the current pivot. So, you know, a bit of sideways right here, maybe comes back down and fills that gap ever so slightly at like low 28, and then tries for another move to the upside. Again, I would say that this current rally would fall apart below about 27.5 or so. You know, if you want to be more aggressive, I'd say 27.9 on CME in this case, but you know, for all intents and purposes, short term, a little bit of sideways, maybe a little bit of downside, but I would be looking for Bitcoin to try one more move to the upside based off these statistics that we were looking at earlier. Anyways, now putting this all together with the 12-hour HPDR over here as well, just kind of naked on its own, I did want to highlight the importance of the 29,200 region. That's actually the average. It's also the median as well right here, I believe, as two at 29,250 or so. You know, and again, we just have another thing that does suggest that above that region, that's where you know, I would start to look at this as a confirmed bear trap. Very likely Bitcoin makes another move to the current highs of this rally, somewhere around like $31,000. Probably plays out of, you know, it's going to be pullbacks in between, obviously. And then from there, I do think that Bitcoin would mount an assault above 30, you know, 32, probably somewhere closer to 33 or 34, something like that. That would, you know, be likely in like early May or so. Now, here's the thing. Now, oh, fuck, I've completely forgot to go over this over here. Or at least if I did, I don't think I belabored the point well enough. Still, 26,500, very fucking important region for the downside. Below 26.5 or 26.6, whatever you want to call it, or 26.7 even, depending upon what time frame you're looking at, on a closing basis, that's at the point where, you know, I'd really be looking for the downside to accelerate. And when I say accelerate, I mean Bitcoin very likely coming down below $25,000. You know, probably a bounce around $25,000. Personally speaking, I do think Bitcoin would come down to, you know, somewhere around 21, maybe even $20,000 even at that point. But until that does happen, that's just not the current move that I'm necessarily looking for based off the data, based off statistics. Short term, I do think that Bitcoin makes a short-term move to the upside. And then the real question is, does Bitcoin, you know, does it actually clear and close above about 29,250? If it does, game on for the Boolas. If it doesn't, pressure on for the Boolas. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. Just wanted to follow up on those things. Hopefully that was clear. And yeah, I think it's time for me to wish you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.